morning and welcome to The Point. It is Wednesday, June 23rd, 2021. Thank you to those of you joining us on the GBN, Grenada Broadcasting Network's Facebook page, the Grenada Broadcasting Network's YouTube channel, the website www.gbn.gd, GBN TV channel 7, 11 and 20. Good morning to the listeners of Classic 105.5, 105.9 and all the folks joining us on Party Grenada and Go to FET Facebook pages. It is a pleasure to have you. My virtual guest this morning is head of the local organizing committee as Grenada prepares to host 5 T20 matches between West Indies and South Africa, Mr. Troy Garvey. Good morning, Mr. Garvey. How are you, sir?
Blossom, good morning to you. Good morning to your listeners and viewers across your platform. It's indeed a pleasure to be with you this morning as we speak cricket, as we speak West Indies cricket, as we speak West Indies, South Africa cricket here in St. George's, Grenada on the weekend.
Happy to have you, sir. It's exciting times for us with the return of international cricket to the Spice Isle. However, it will be the return of cricket under a different dispensation, as I put it, in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. A lot has been put in place to ensure that we can safely host these matches, considering the COVID-19 protocols and regulations in place. So let's start with some of the basic information as we prepare to host the first game on Saturday, God willing.
Okay, just to backtrack a bit, I think it's important that we do to place the entire thing in its right context. Grenada was not scheduled to host these games from offset because of those games were scheduled and declared for Trinidad. Because of the situation in Trinidad, we were asked, and the Ministry of Sport, the government of Grenada, and the Cricket Association made the decision to host the games. As a result, the timing, the period of time for preparation was somewhat short, but we took on the challenge, and I think that we have positioned ourselves to deliver at the usual very high standard that we have been doing since 2007, going back to the Cricket World Cup. As we stand right now, most of Team West Indies, most of the players are on the ground. They have been here doing their training. The entire team will assemble today with the arrival during the course of this morning of the rest of Team West Indies, the South African team, the television production team, and other officials and related personnel for the event. We're expecting during the course of this morning about 105 odd persons flying in and on a special charter at Morris Bishop International, and the reports coming to me just a short while ago, all systems go as relates to our operations on the ground. And the flight was a bit delayed coming out of St. Lucia, but we are prepared and ready. On arrival, all persons would go through the standard entry requirements to come into the country. They'll be tested, they'll be quarantined until the results have been issued to them. So all these are things we just want to assure the general public that all COVID-19 protocols as established by our Ministry of Health must be observed, must be adhered to, and will be rolled out as relates to our guests. There are approximately 130 odd persons that will be here for the event. The games are starting on Saturday, going through until the 3rd of July. There are 5 one-day, 5 T20 games. The scheduled time is about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The duration of the games, cricket fans will know, it's about 3 hours, 3.5 hours for the most. So it's going to be very exciting on the field of play. And what we're trying to tell persons, as part of the rollout, it was not planned to have spectators in the stands. These games were carded to be played on the field of play with an empty seating bowl. Once it was agreed to host the games here, we started discussions with CWI with the touring parties and the ICC to accommodate persons. And basically, we're following international norms and standards that we're seeing across the board. That's why the decision was taken that only fully vaccinated persons will be allowed entry into the stadium to see the games. However, the games will be available on television. There's a radio broadcast being mounted as usual, but we just thought it's persons to understand why the decision was made. It's not just a Grenada situation or we come into the games. It's not what we're accustomed to. If you see all the cricket that's been played right now in the region and around the world, you're seeing empty seating bowls. So Grenada is somewhat like the template, is like the venue that we've seen to prove to the region and the world that first and foremost, we in Grenada, CWI, can host these events at this nature, deliver at the highest level, and not compromise any COVID-19 protocols and expectations. So these are the challenges. That's why we keep telling persons it's not like what we were accustomed to. It's not business as usual, but still you can come and enjoy the games, and there are avenues for everyone to enjoy the games.
The West Indies, both teams actually, coming off of the test series in St. Lucia. St. Lucia was also facilitating spectators, vaccinated spectators. But I think the difference between St. Lucia and Grenada is St. Lucia had a cap of 400, but we are going for any number of vaccinated people that can come. Why that difference?
Hold on. It was not the intent of CWI or even the organizers in St. Lucia to have patrons. Once the request started being considered, they tabled the option and consideration were given. I think for the first game, they allow a few persons in, non-paying persons once you are fully vaccinated. And it's a matter of working, tweaking to try to get the right formula. The design of our seating bowl is distinctly different from that of St. Lucia. We have a greater capacity. And our plan is to use the upper level and not the lower level. So there are a number of things that we can do that cannot be done in St. Lucia to protect the biosecure bubble, to ensure that the players are not compromised and the overall event is not compromised in any way. We can track back. The IPL, because of the situation in India, had to be halted, and it's a give and take in terms of getting spectators back into the seating bowl. And I'm sure that football is looking at what cricket is doing, cricket is looking at what track and field is doing, and a lot depends on being vaccinated. That seems to be the key pointer in making these determinations, and that's why we are saying you must be fully vaccinated, and we're begging persons understanding as the reasons why. We cannot afford to do anything wrong or fail here in delivering a safe event. There are serious repercussions for us as a country, for CWI, for a region, and keep in mind that CWI is planning very soon after this event to host the Australians. And if anything goes wrong, there are serious implications and repercussions that we have to guard against. So where we stand right now, only fully vaccinated persons will be allowed into the seating bowl. Our stadium is pretty large. It's among the larger ones in the Caribbean, and we are quite comfortable with the plan that we have in place. We can accommodate those persons in a safe, secure environment with clear understanding. There will be no party stand, there'll be no posse stand, there'll be no party-like atmosphere. It's a gradual process as we try to return that element of sports to a state of normalcy and what we are accustomed to and what we expect as true traditional Caribbean colorful cricket with spectators and music, and it's a gradual process. I think that we're taking the first step now, baby steps, and overall the region will benefit. And also we are targeting, hoping that Grenada will be a venue of choice for the English tour early next year.
Now, keep it in mind that there will be always one, maybe two people that would try to circumvent security regulations. What are the strict security measures that will be in place to ensure that it only vaccinated people? There nobody trying to sneak in a little alcoholic beverage here or there. What will be in place to ensure that what we say will happen will happen?
Well, we are begging persons' understanding and cooperation. We do not want a situation that, as we say, one bad apple spoils the entire basket. We do not want to have two unruly persons in the seating bowl, creating a problem first and foremost for Grenada, for the region, and for cricket in general. So if the security forces and the COVID-19 teams on the ground are of the opinion that that person or persons are becoming a distraction and not cooperating, we will eject you from the bowl. We have to understand that, and that we do not want such situations. And to put it as simple as possible, we do not want a situation where one or two bad apples spoil the entire basket. And that's why we're asking persons, we're explaining to the persons, there's a process involved in purchasing a ticket. You go to the box office, you have to present your ID, you have to present your vaccination certificate to purchase a ticket. On entry into the stadium, your credentials will be checked. There will be persons from the Ministry of Health with a database to ensure that you are in fact vaccinated and when you were vaccinated. And we're begging persons, we say no alcoholic beverages, no alcohol will be sold at the stadium. There'll be limited opportunities for vending. You can bring your cooler, it's 3 hours. We are encouraging snacks and drinks and juices, and it's not the usual Caribbean party. As we say, it's baby steps at this crucial time for us to get to where we were in terms of having the loud music and the flags and the interaction. As a country, we're not there as yet. So let us understand that that is what the situation is. So do not show up with huge coolers and think we can come and, have, it's not what it used to be. It's baby steps. I'm begging us Grenadians, please be understanding. And the world is monitoring, the world is looking, the teams are looking at what we do here in Grenada. That's why it's so important for us to get it right and get it right the first time.
An important part of being qualified as fully vaccinated is that it has to be at least 14 days since you received your second shot. The question is, would any leeway be given for, let's say, 13 days?
Well, there are 5 matches, so you might not be able to see match 1. But the standard here is, and we have to understand that, you must be fully vaccinated. And according to standards of the Ministry of Health, according to the international community, fully vaccinated means you should have taken that shot 14 days ago, from as relates to the gate in question that you're trying to determine to get entry into the facility. So it's not, and it's not just us here in Grenada. It's not Troy or the minister or whoever trying to do that. These are international standards, international expectations. It's new for us. It's quite challenging for us. For example, the team is staying at a local hotel. There must be a bubble. There are certain things hotel must do, cannot do. It's not business as usual. And the teams, we must give them the assurance that they will be kept in a safe environment. If not, they will not come. The Australians did not make certain tours before they decided to come to the West Indies. And they are still in Australia. If anything goes wrong, we might say, look, let's put that on hold. And we do not want that situation to happen. So that's why we really insisting on begging the cooperation and understanding of persons as we move this process forward, starting on Saturday.
Now, speaking of being protected, there's the saying, can I say there's a saying here? There's a saying in Grenada that we ain't have COVID here, people bringing it. So the question is, what measures or how are we so sure that the players that have come in for the matches, that they are safe and COVID-19 free? Bearing in mind as well, that some of them have not been quarantined on their arrival here.
No, they have been quarantined before. Keep in mind that we are moving a bubble from St. Lucia to Grenada. There are protocols involved that had the team, the South African team, went through same entry requirements and quarantines and so on to get into St. Lucia to play the 2 test matches. Likewise, the players who went from Team West Indies, who are involved, who are traveling, have been part of that bubble for probably months, weeks now. The officials have been part of that bubble. So we're moving that bubble now from one location to the next and taking all the necessary steps to ensure that it's not quarantined, it is not compromised and not broken in any way. On arrival today, all 104 persons will be tested. There's a testing center that is established at the hotel with rooms with the doctors and nurses and all the testing, and everyone coming off that plane, like the persons who were there since last week, have been tested, and they will be continued to be tested during the period of time, because they move from Grenada and they continue with this bubble moving to Barbados. So we have to ensure that the bubble is not compromised. So everyone will be tested on arrival here this morning. The players who were here before have been tested and continue to be tested to ensure. The protocols at the hotel is closely monitored to ensure that they do not interact with, or as little interaction as is possible. That's why the training sessions they've had at the National Stadium have been closed. There's little or no interaction. We try to keep them in that bubble and constantly testing them to ensure that they are COVID-free. So there have been medical consultants on the ground 2 weeks now to ensure these things are met, and nothing is taken for granted. Nothing is taken for granted. There are lots of work happening behind the scene. It's not just come into the country, show up at the stadium, play the game, have a good time, win or lose. It's much more to that. The implications are far-reaching beyond the field of play here in Grenada. As much as we are concentrating on the 5 days of play here in Grenada and looking forward to 5 great days.
Is there a contingency plan in place in the event, whether it's an outbreak of one player or many players tests positive?
In the event, well, I made reference of the IPL. If they had concerns, there are tournaments around the world that you see persons who have been, if there's a situation, we do not want to even think of what can happen. It will stop. There's a possibility it can be stopped. If there's a single person, the person will be immediately removed from the bubble. There are a number of things that we understand the various steps and the mitigating process that we have to take, and we do not want to go that route. But we hope and pray that things do not reach that situation. That's why we're trying to ensure that all the T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted, and begging the understanding and the cooperation of everyone involved. Because we do not want to know that, look, there was the West Indies and South Africans played in St. Lucia. They played 2 test matches. They had close to about 8 days of cricket. And we come here and something happens here in Grenada and it's under our watch and under our care. That will not be good for us. As much as we appreciate that we are COVID-free, according to the Ministry of Health and the dashboards, we are not going to take anything for granted as relates to delivering this event. We just have to beg persons' understanding. That's why I'm stressing over and over. It's not business as usual. It's not the usual Caribbean cricket as we know it. We're trying to get back there. We're taking baby steps, one at a time, to hope that probably when England comes through the region next year, we can say, look, the country has over 60% of its nationals fully vaccinated. These are things so we can open up the country and open up activities. But right now, we're looking at in the region of about 20% of the persons who have taken shots. And we need much more on that. That's why I think it's important to understand the repercussions and the consequences of our actions. It's probably your choice, but the choice that you make can impact on your friend, your family, your neighbor, and your country. So we have to preserve the bubble. We try desperately not to compromise that, and we hope that we can roll out these events at the very highest level. We have a reputation here in Grenada of rolling out these events very, very well, and I don't think that that will change during the course starting this coming Saturday.
Now, all the spectators at the venue need to be fully vaccinated, which begs the question, why? Because part of the protocols for attendance at the matches, we still have to wear masks and we still have to social distance. So that begs the question, if we are all fully vaccinated, why do I still need to wear my mask? Why do I still need to be 6 feet away from my closest neighbors? Mr. Garvey? Okay, Mr. Garvey appears to be frozen at the moment. I think the rain not doing us a very good service this morning. So what I'm going to do, I am going to take a break, and then when we come back, hopefully things will be set right. You're tuned in to The Point. We're speaking with head of the local organizing committee as Grenada prepares to host 5 T20 matches between West Indies and South Africa. To The Point, we'll be right back.
It's time to line virtually one more time. Gemma Rayburn Baines here for Spice Island Cultural Festival, a celebration of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martini. This summer's festival is a celebration of life with food, fashion, music, and culture. Join us online Saturday, July 10th, 3 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube at Spice Island Cultural Festival. Info, spiceislandculturalday.com.
Do you hear what I hear? Listen to the ocean, and you will hear a cry for help. The ocean is hurting, and we are the source of the hurt. But we can stop and start to heal our ocean by preventing pollution from getting into our waterways. It can start with you. Join an active organization, or better yet, make a personal commitment. Commit not for just one day in the year, but for the rest of your life. Let's dispose of our plastic and other waste responsibly, and let's start building resilience. Let the healing begin.
This message is brought to you by the OECS Commission with funding from the Government of Norway. Remlit, tackling ocean pollution from turf to surf.
Looking for that injection of vibes and energy, of course? Well, I've got just that. Hi, my name is Gary, Mr. Smooth, and I'm inviting you to join me on the Hot Morning Show on Hot 98.5, 98.7 FM. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 10 in the morning. I've got a healthy dose of your favorite and most infectious hits sampled with information, news, laughter, and all the other ingredients that go into making the hottest morning show on the radio. The Morning Heat. And while you're at it, don't forget to hit us up on WhatsApp, 435-7517. We've got topics, we've got discussions, calls, voice notes, and so much more. But I can't tell you everything. You gotta tune in. The Hot Morning Show on Hot FM 98.5, 98.7 with yours truly, Gary, Mr. Smooth. Kaboom!
Hey folks, you're invited to tune in to Grenada Music to the World program, hosted by Eugene Gittens on Saturday mornings from 10 a.m. to 12 noon on Classic Radio 105.5, 105.9, Hot FM 98.5, 98.7, GBN TV, and all their social media platforms. The only totally local music program in Grenada, representing all genres of music. So it's Green's Music to the World on Saturday mornings from 10 a.m. to 12 noon on GBN with the music icon himself, Mr. Eugene Gittens. See you then.
Welcome back to the Point, speaking with chairman of the local organizing committee as Grenada prepares to host T20 matches between West Indies and South Africa starting this weekend on Saturday, God willing, to be precise. Mr. Garvey, before the internet decided it wasn't cooperating with us just for a little bit, I was asking in relation to the protocols for attendance at the stadium. All spectators need to be fully vaccinated, which begs the question, why do they still need to wear masks and social distance if everybody is vaccinated?
Well, we cannot be too safe or don't want to take things for granted. We're encouraging persons to still wear their masks. We're encouraging persons to still stay with your immediate friends and family. We're encouraging limited movements in the seating bowl. The seating bowl will kept at 50% of its capacity, even in the spaces and areas that we have designated. So we're not going to take anything for granted. So we just want to be absolutely clear and very safe. We're not out of the woods. It's not business as usual. One has to still exercise necessary care as we move forward and respond to the situations that the world is facing. Not just Grenada, it's the entire world.
What about the cost of tickets? What's the cost to attend the matches?
It would be $50 per match. $50 per match, and there, I think if you want to buy a 5-match season pass, that would be $200, and if you're doing 3 days, it would be $120. The box office is opened as we speak at the National Stadium, and in purchasing tickets, one person can purchase a maximum of 4 tickets. You will have to have the necessary related information to do so, that is certificates of vaccination and also an ID to purchase the tickets from the box office at the National Stadium. It will be open straight through until the end of the event.
To purchase 4 tickets, that's 4 tickets for, like, if I want to purchase for other people, or my 4 tickets?
Or for within your cluster. Okay. You might want to bring your husband, your spouse, your sister or brother, so one person can purchase 4 tickets maximum. And tickets are not transferable. Your name will be attached to the ticket. All purchases are final. You cannot come in and then decide, I'm coming for this day, and get a refund. All sales are final. And one thing I must mention, which is difficult for us to even accept, is that persons under 18 years of age would not be allowed entry into the facility because of the entry requirements. And I hope that persons are quite understanding. As much as we like to see the youngsters come out and see the Chris Gales and the Andre Fletchers and so playing for this event, for this one. Let's hope next year, if and when England comes to Grenada, that we will be in a position and things will be different. But for this event, it must be noted that persons under the age of 18 will not be allowed entry into the facility.
According to the Ministry of Health's dashboard, just over 10,000, or should I say just under 11,000 people have been fully vaccinated. What are your expectations in terms of turnout? How much people would be at the stadium to witness the games?
I'm very cautiously optimistic. There are a number of factors that we're looking at. And those are things that's totally out of our control. And when I say our control at the national level, at the LOC level, there are only about 11,000 persons. I will not sit here to give the impression or the belief that those 11,000 persons are ardent cricket fans. So you need to start doing the breakdown, and we are monitoring the movements on a daily basis to be able to respond in the right manner. And we're keeping our fingers crossed and hope West Indies did not do well in the test matches. We have all the stars on the ground. We have the Pollards and the Gales and the Andre Fletchers, the core, the best of the West Indies T20 squads and known players from the IPL and all the T20 tournaments around the world. We have the best here in Grenada, and we're looking for a good encounter, and we hope that that will attract persons to the National Stadium at the Queen's Park.
All right. At this point in the program, we're going to invite our viewers, listeners who may have comments, questions, queries, concerns. Now is your chance to ask Mr. Garvey. The landline number 435-2041. The WhatsApp number is also 435-2041. Please, only written messages on WhatsApp, and you can continue to post your comments, questions, queries, concerns on YouTube and Facebook. While we wait on the phone to ring, let me go to a YouTube question, one of the first to be posted this morning. Somebody on YouTube is inquiring, are all the members of the West Indies and South Africa teams fully vaccinated? Are you aware?
That I will not speak to. What I can give you the assurance that all the members of the team has been a part of that biosecure bubble, going through their daily and their weekly testing protocols, and they will not be allowed to play. They will not. I think since the bubble was formed for this encounter, I think probably one person, not even a player, might have had a negative test, a positive test, sorry. But in terms of all the players and so meet the requirements and are going through the daily testing protocols to ensure that they are capable of playing at the games. I would not dare to speak to the vaccination status of all the players. I know some have taken one, some have taken two. I'm in no position to speak to that. That falls under the purview of CWI and the medical responses that continues to travel and move with the team from region to region as they exist. They have been existing in that bubble for quite a while now.
Yeah, I believe so as well. At least for the West Indies squad, all of them have at least received their very first dose. Some have received their second, but there are others who have not reached the timeline to receive their second as yet. And in relation to positive tests, I think there was only one player that tested positive that's before the test started. The test series started. One player tested positive, but he has since been cleared, and that was about 2 or so weeks ago.
No one is going to compromise this event, huh? If someone is tested, not something that you can hide. It's something that you have to respond to, and there's a protocol involved in responding to that. So it's not a situation where we're asking you to do it and the players are not going through the same regiment. There have been players on the ground here since last week, and they've been confined to their rooms. They have been going through the regular testing. There are a number of things that they are going through. And keep in mind, they have been part of this bubble now for weeks. So, it's something that is not something that you can get used to. But as a professional, it's something that you will have to do in the interest of your profession.
Let's go to our first caller. Good morning, caller.
Good morning to you, madam, and good morning to Mr. Garvey. Mr. Garvey, could you guarantee us the West Indies cricketers will play much better in this test? Because we are West Indian and we will love to see they do good, but they're not doing good now at all, sir. I live in London for years and years, and I used to get up every morning, go to the Oval when they're playing cricket, go to Lodge, and when you see West Indian come out there, everybody happy. But now we're not certain. Could you guarantee us, please, can you guarantee us the West Indies team will play a little better so to make West Indian feel happy again? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, caller.
Well, sir, thank you very much. And just a short, before I joined this program, I was on a meeting with the CEO of CWI, and he was saying, I said, look, we can guarantee a number of things here in Grenada. We have no control of the weather and also the performance of Team West Indies. And I think that the selectors have done a fantastic job in bringing together the best available talent. And they are professionals. We see the Pollards and the Gales and the Bravos and these guys. And I think if memory will serve me well, I think Gale always has a good game here in Grenada. The last time he played here, it was very exciting. And it's something that I think we can look forward to, keep our fingers crossed, and hope in the lights of what we're accustomed to from the 70s and the 80s with the Clive Lloyds and the Vivian Richards teams, that we can see at least a glimmer of such as the Queen's Park here starting on Saturday. But I think that if you could, I think you should come out and support our boys, Team West Indies.
On the social media, there are various people asking what could be summed into one question in terms of what financial contribution is Cricket West Indies making toward hosting the game. Somebody on WhatsApp was asking, will they be making a contribution to the Cricket Association? Somebody on Facebook is asking who is bearing the cost for testing of the cricketers. Can you tell us anything in relation to, and as well as how much government is spending to host the matches?
I would like persons to remove just the blinders and looking at this just narrowly. First and foremost, West Indies, CWI in Cricket West Indies paying for all the testings and so for the players and their staff on the ground. The contribution it's done in collaboration with the Cricket West Indies. The local cricket association plays an integral role in all the roll-off and benefits tremendously. Country benefits tremendously from hosting these games. That's why there are 12 countries in the region who are quite capable of doing so. That is why you find there's always that process of trying to get the games because of the implications far beyond the field of play. When you see the signage on the Come to Grenada, which shows that this country is quite capable of doing business at the highest level, showing to the world the images and the pictures of our country, they're much more. The value involved in hosting these games is just not a dollars and cents value on the ground. Patronage alone, spectator patronage alone, cannot pay for these games. It's $50 a ticket. We are looking probably at a few hundred persons in the stands. There's much more. So there is involvement, the bulk of it coming from CWI, also from the government of this country. And we believe in the long run, the images, the pictures that come out of Grenada, and they're great value down the road in hosting and attracting persons. And I think it's not something that you can see put a dollars and cents value, a profit and loss right now at the end of the day. But in moving forward and going along, I think there's tremendous value to country when we host these international events.
But even if you can't give us a figure, can you say if CWI is making any financial contribution at all?
Of course, it's a CWI event. It's hosted here in Grenada. It's not Grenada just wanting the games. It's a CWI event, and the bulk of the costs the government contributes, making available the stadium and other logistical support for the event. You know, it's a buy-in from everybody. But CWI is not just a thing of we send the games and. You know, the teams have to come from South Africa. The team is coming from South Africa. You know, the rights, there are a number of issues. It's much bigger than just on the field of play here. And all parties contribute, and it's a showcase of the region. And it's just that the focus right now is on Grenada. And I think that our focus is to deliver. Let us showcase country at this point in time.
All right. Phone lines, 3, 2, 1. No? Okay. Back to YouTube. Somebody on YouTube is inquiring, what happens if Chris Gale hits a 6 and the ball is coming my way in the stands? Can I catch the ball and throw it back on the field?
No, please don't. Move away from the ball. We're begging persons to move away from the ball. And that's one of the advantages that we have. If you know the National Stadium, there are 2 levels of the seating bowl. So that's why we're putting persons and spectators at the upper level. And it will take, I'm not saying he cannot do it, and he has not done it in the past, getting the ball up to that upper area. But we're hoping that it's not done with great frequency. If that happens, there will be in-house announcements, do not touch the ball. It will be the player's responsibility to go into the seating bowl, to touch that ball, to get it. There are a number of things that's not the same, if you understand what I'm saying, because you don't want somebody touching the ball, send it back to the players. You understand what can happen. So that was a very good question. And these are things that we're briefing the ground staff about. They cannot be in touch. Persons and spectators. It's only on the field of play. So if it goes into the party stand area, the person feeling in that area will go into the stand to retrieve the ball. And it has to, and if it comes by for any strange reason, you'll see the umpire with gloves will take the ball and do certain things to ensure it's not cricket as usual, so that's why we keep telling persons, and that's a very good question, because that's one of the reasons why we had persons in the upper area of the seating bowl. It's not that Chris and Pollard and these guys and Andrew and these guys cannot hit the ball that far, and we hope that they do very frequently, but we just like to ensure that the spectators that will be there understand these things.
That'll be tough to watch the ball in the stands and I can't touch it. Loss?
Well, that we will urge persons not to do so. Not to do so, please.
All right, let's go back to the phone. Okay, we lost that caller. There was a question on WhatsApp. Somebody on WhatsApp is inquiring how many tickets have been sold so far? And will the cricket be broadcast on TV in Grenada? I know you said it'll be broadcast, but would it be in Grenada or on?
I hope I'm not crossing the line, but Flow Sports have secured the rights for CWI cricket in the region.
All right, that's correct.
Okay, so it will be on their platform. There will be a radio coverage mounted, I do believe, and we are working to get that arranged right now. So it should be available on radio. I think that GBN, I've been informed, should be doing some aspect of radio coverage for the games. I'm subject to correction here, but I think it was drawn to my attention that GBN will be doing such.
Correct is right. We will be broadcasting the match on Classic.
Yes, so that's where we are. What was the first part of the question?
How many tickets have been sold so far?
I will not be. The box office opened only yesterday, and we are now starting to inform persons and let persons know that it's opened, and there have been lots of inquiries, and we see what happens at the end of the day. We have made available an opportunity. We have told persons the cost of the tickets, the conditions for entry, and it's entirely up to cricket fans to come forward. What I can safely say is that a number of persons, as a matter of fact, the office opened yesterday morning, and there were a few persons waiting at 8:30 in the morning, waiting to get information or make purchases of tickets. And yes, which was very surprising.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Blossom. And good morning to Mr. Troy Garvey.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, I hear you just said something about all over the world that they don't have people in cricket watching. I'm watching Flow Sports right now. They play national thing in England, and I seen people jumping up, waving and jumping up together. So stop telling me them kind of stupidness about all they do. I watching it right now on Flow Sports. Right now, and people jumping up and waving and doing all kind of things. And that is why you all got to have it free and nobody won't come to the stadium. That is why nobody wouldn't come. Just as how they had it free in St. Lucia and nobody was there, nobody would come.
So he said, I'm sorry, he said what?
That I'm watching cricket right now on Flow Sports 502 and I'm watching people jumping up.
Yeah, so you're saying that
they could have it free and nobody wouldn't come.
Oh, okay.
Nobody would come to the stadium.
Thank you very much.
That's a matter of opinion, so we respect your opinion. And I think that's one person. I'm not going to even question or respond to the calls made. We have outlined the conditions, and those are internationally sanctioned conditions. And to each his own, just as how persons have a choice, an option to be vaccinated or not, to each his own. But what we're saying for these games, these are the conditions as agreed to by local officials, the CWI and the ICC. And I think persons, I'm sure you're looking at fully vaccinated persons who are in the stands, and we are taking baby steps based on our resources and our abilities to ensure a safe environment for the entire event.
Somebody on WhatsApp says there is a flyer that states you can have your very first shot and come to the match.
That's not true.
I am not sure where
Let's be absolutely clear on that.
Flyer.
You have to be fully vaccinated, and fully vaccinated, as relates to Grenada's Ministry of Health, it must be 2 shots. There were consideration. We explored the option of having single shot persons, and it came with a huge condition that a single shot person must show proof of being negative with a PCR or a rapid test. And we did not see that as being practical, so the option was removed from the table. As we speak, to reiterate, only fully vaccinated persons will be allowed entry into the stadium for the games.
Well, I think that last statement answered a question here. Somebody on WhatsApp was asking, if you are not vaccinated but have a recent negative PCR test, will you be granted entry to the stadium? But I think you just answered that. No. You gotta get your 2 shots. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Okay, nice. Well, I just want to use the time to congratulate the Ministry of Health, and the government, even the opposition. I remember they put out something asking people to get vaccinated. I think, we did a wonderful job here in Grenada, and we can't leave out the people. I think we did follow the protocol, and this is why we could have cricket here in Grenada. Seeing what's going on next door, right to us, Trinidad, St. Vincent and them places and them, I think we are blessed here, and we need to stop the fighting against each other. Put all politics aside and let's put God first. And I just want to hope the cricket come out successful and stuff. And I want to, again, thank the government and the people of Grenada for keeping us safe. And I hope it remains this way. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Garvey, I think? No? Okay.
I think I must say a very special thank you to the caller for his contribution and his input.
All right, let me see. Somebody on Facebook, I was about to ask them for more explanation, but let me ask just in case Mr. Garvey can answer. Somebody says, here's my concern. State resources cannot be used discriminatorily. If the government of Grenada is contributing, then there are serious implications. I guess that means discriminating again between vaccinated and unvaccinated people to enter the stadium?
Well,
that's what I took from it, I should say.
I'm not understanding the concern or the question. And we have outlined reasons why certain things. This is not just a Grenada situation in terms of what we do here and how we do things here. There are international repercussions and consequences, and we are going to adhere to it. It's not a situation of trying to discriminate against one against the next. I'm sure that if within your own personal environment that someone is infected, you will avoid that area or that space. And we must respect each other. And just as how I have to respect you for not vaccinating or having a single shot or waiting a second shot, I think we should respect each other's, position and choices that we have made. And I honestly do not want it to come down to a situation of vaccine versus non-vaccine. The reality of the situation as we stand right now is that only fully vaccinated persons will be allowed entry into the facility for the games.
Back to the phone line. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, good morning.
Morning.
If one of the players fall on sick and the doctor and nurse ain't vaccinate, could them attend to the patient?
Thank you, caller.
Not be the case. That would not be the case. I think that there are responses for almost every situation as relates to the hosting of these events. And there are medical experts at all levels. There are certain responses that we had to put in place, the team is putting in place, and you are assured that someone that is not compliant of not met the requirement will not be in attendance of that person.
This would be a good time to ask this WhatsApp question. Are all medical staff and other officials, including yourself, Mr. Garvey, vaccinated? Fully vaccinated?
Can I start with myself?
Sure.
And this is not I'm going to hide. Does that make it any easier for you?
For the TV people, but for the radio people, say it out loud.
So explain, so let them know. I give you the option.
That he is showing his vaccinated card that he received both doses? I think so, yes, that he is fully vaccinated and has received both doses of the vaccine, AstraZeneca to be precise.
I just want to say that there have been concerns. And even within our cricket operations staff, we have had to remove persons. Cannot, because of the role that you play, where you are, you cannot be a part of the process. As a matter of fact, someone called me yesterday. A gentleman called me yesterday, and he is an employer, and one of his employees have been a part of the process, and he provided certain information. And immediately I called the head of cricket operations and said, look, I would like you to check this situation out. Because we have given the assurance that we can deliver. And these are the requirements. And from the Ministry of Health, from under the great work of the Chief Medical Officer, the Permanent Secretary, and other officials in the Ministry of Health, we have gone the extra mile to ensure that all the responses are in place and in accordance with the requirements. So I think that there are valid questions, but I think persons should understand that these are the requirements, and in no way will we try to compromise the players, yourself, or anyone as we deliver this event.
Somebody on Facebook is inquiring the condition of being fully vaccinated to attend the games. Was that a stipulation from our local authorities or from Cricket West Indies?
It was understanding and agreement with all parties involved in the best interest of the event and having the event here in Grenada.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Mitchell. I was wondering. Let me see. Back on. Hold on. Online? No? Right. Back on WhatsApp. I remember. No, let me go to the landline and then I'll get to that WhatsApp question. Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, pleasant good morning. So that could you just tell me the price of the ticket again?
It's $50 per day, $120 if you want a 3-day package, and $200 if you want a 5-day package.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And just to let the caller know that the box office is open. There's a single box office, and that's at the National Stadium in St. George's.
The cricket stadium?
Yes.
Which part exactly, do you know? Which end?
Where persons normally purchase tickets. There's one box office there. You come through from the Greenbridge area, you walk right in, and the box office is where once a cricket fan where you're accustomed getting your tickets, and for persons who are doing it for the first time, once you inquire, there are persons on the ground that will direct you to the box office.
That's the River Road end?
No, that's from the
double end?
No, not the double end. From the main, by Greenbridge end. You will enter in from the Greenbridge end, the main entrance of the stadium.
Okay. All right, I just picturing it. Okay, by that stretch of road with the gate. Okay, I see it.
Yes, that right along the, how we call it, outside the stadium road, that's the western main road there.
Right.
Right by the old Greenbridge.
By the entrance for Soca Monarch. Don't answer. Let me get to the WhatsApp question. Somebody on WhatsApp says the Minister of Health on an interview on To The Point last week and on post-cab briefing said that vaccinated people at the games will be allowed to intermingle, laugh, have a drink with friends or family, no need to wear masks, etc. However, Mr. Garvey is saying that if you're allowed into the stadium, that you would have to follow the strict protocols, which is contradicting and confusing for people.
Okay, let's make it clear. This is not business. I keep making that point. We're not saying we're having persons chained to their seats. We're not saying, but I like persons to go back to what we are accustomed to, with a one-day game or a T20 game being played at the National Stadium. We are accustomed to flags and music and persons jumping up and having that is, I think, as I say, we are a couple steps away. I think what we like to see is persons coming in a responsible way, having a good time. If there's a need to wear your mask, we advise you to wear your mask. We do not expect you to sit in the seating bowl with your mask and you're like chained to a seat. That's not what we're saying. We're asking persons to be responsible. And keep in mind, it's not the normal, colorful Caribbean cricket that we are accustomed to. It's not. But we're just urging persons to understand that one, we're still in a pandemic, and two, we must be responsible. That's the bottom line.
All right. It's time for us to wind down the program. Any final thoughts, Mr. Garvey?
No, again, I understand the concerns. And as I said just a short while ago, it's not going to be the normal, colorful Caribbean cricket. It's a step in the right direction. It's a small step in the right direction. And I think that hopefully we will get there by us continuing to do what is expected of us, the guidance from the Ministry of Health and the government of the country in terms of getting the country back to a state of normalcy. We all want to see things as we are accustomed to enjoying it. But there are certain things we have to do to get back. The world is a changed place. So you might be sitting at home watching cricket from England and you see fans in the stand. I'm sure you're not seeing the normal number of stands. I'm sure the persons in the stands are fully vaccinated persons. So these are things we must take into consideration. Do not just look at a picture and jump to a conclusion. This is much more than just Grenada. This is the region. This is cricket locally, regionally, and internationally. And we're begging persons understanding for us to do the right thing. Let us set the foundation. Let us build the foundation on which we can move forward on. And I think we are showing the world that we can host at the highest level, we can deliver at the highest level, but we can only do so with your cooperation, with your understanding, with us working together as a team at all levels, and it includes even the persons who are coming to the games. So one, tickets are available. They are $50 each. They are the standard prohibited items that we will look at. No glass bottles, no alcohol. These are things that you know and you expect in any game. You can walk with a small cooler that can fit under your seat. We're telling you it's about 3 to 3.5 hours for the games. It's from 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So let us come together. Let us understand this. Let us appreciate and enjoy the game, understanding that it's not normal times, but we're taking baby steps to get there sometime in the future.
Somebody on WhatsApp is asking, say first one second, can I enter? Is this a genuine ticket? Okay. I see the question. The poster about the requirements for the protocols for the series. Somebody was asking if that is the genuine ticket, and that is not the genuine ticket.
I'm sure that's not a ticket.
No.
The tickets can only be obtained from the box office. I cannot speak to it because I cannot see it. So, but tickets are available only from the box office.
WhatsApp, or what you have is just the guidelines for the hosting of the matches. This is not the actual ticket. That has been circulating on the websites, Windy's website, Cricket Info website. I think it's even on GIS's Facebook page. So that's not the ticket, WhatsApp.
Does it say protocols for the T20 series?
Yes, with the pink background and the...
And no, there's some blue and some yellow with a coat of arms, with a coat of arms to the right.
Exactly. Yes.
No, that is not a ticket. That's definitely not a ticket.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Garvey, thank you very much, sir. Looking forward to exciting matches when the West Indies hopefully beat South Africa. Fingers crossed. Appreciate your attendance.
I think you need to cross your fingers and also your toes. And again, Blossom, to you and the GBN team, thank you very much for having me here this morning. And I hope that we have provided additional clarity to persons who are wavering. We continue to be available to let persons know. You can check the Windies website, you can call the local office, and we just try to ensure that all systems go. I'm hopefully that as we speak right now, probably the final batch of persons and players are approaching the country and should be on the ground very, very soon. And we look forward to some great cricket starting on Saturday.
And tickets will be available for purchase on the day of the games.
Yes, we are mounting a ticket option. We should be mounting a perimeter box office, probably in the vicinity of the Green Bridge. We should sign off on that by today. And in the interest of congregating and persons wasn't up a ticket on the match day, we have decided that we move the box office away from the actual immediate outside of the stadium to another location, and persons will be advised accordingly.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Stay safe and stay dry.
Thank you very much, Basham. All the best to you, and congrats and good morning to all the listeners across your platforms.
Thank you. Head of the local organizing committee, Mr. Troy Garvey. Grenada will be hosting 5 T20 matches between West Indies and South Africa. The first game bowls off this Saturday, God willing, at the National Cricket Stadium. Of course, I believe the game bowls off at 2 p.m. Fully vaccinated people, at least if you've received your second shot at least 2 weeks ago, you can attend, or I should say 2 weeks before the day of whichever game you want to attend. Thank you so very much for tuning in to The Point. It's the end of my time with you for today. I'll be back tomorrow morning, God willing. Until then, have yourselves a safe and productive Wednesday. Joseph is up next with Mid-Morning Buzz. Bye-bye, everybody.